So this was what was proposed back in June 10th. Then again, the only change is phase one, decreasing the number of units to include 138 units. And this brings us here tonight. So the resubmittal that we reviewed, staff, is for 176 townhomes for bringing up the parking ratio to 4.5, 4 parking spaces per dwelling units. The DRC recommends approval with the minimum parking ratio of 4.58 or 5.4, I'd rather say. The Planning Commission had reviewed this earlier this year and recommended approval as well with a minimum of 3.5 spaces per dwelling.
Thank you. I have a few comments. One was when this very first came through, one of the big issues, one of the showstoppers was the school traffic that was stacking up along the entrance road. And then in a previous meeting, we had the school district show up, and there was a plan to do some improvements to their site and open the gates and stop the stacking and all that. I guess I want to know, like, what assurances do we have that that is actually going to happen? Is my first question.
Good evening, Jo Thacker, 17 South Orlando Avenue, Kissimmee. Yes, we have entered into an agreement with Osceola Engineering to do the design work. We have met with the school district. It is moving forward. What's going to happen is it's going to do a serpentine design on the property. They'll be able to open that gate. They can stack on property without getting access onto the actual school property. So that has all been agreed upon by both parties. And Taylor Morrison is paying for the design work, even though they have not contributed at all to any of the deficiency or the stacking problems, but are, as good citizens, are willing to take that responsibility on and working closely with the school district. The school district is very happy with this approach.
So, all that's great, but when's it actually going to be built? I guess is my question. Because, I mean, I've sat up here a long time now, and people will tell us things will get built, and then they don't get built, or, you know, like the housing will move forward, but then all of a sudden the school district might not have the funding to do the construction.
They've already allocated the funding. It's already been approved.
Okay.
They've already done that at a school board meeting.
Okay. All right. My second issue was they provided some, so Taylor Morrison, I was, excited. I think they're a higher end builder and that we were going to get this really nice townhome product. And so in the agenda package, they provided what the outside would look like. And to me, I don't know if Abismail could pull it up, what was in the agenda package, but to me it was pretty vanilla. It's just stucco with some paint variation from what was in the agenda package. So what was just handed to council was different Taylor Morrison products of townhomes within Florida to see what different communities are getting. And so you can see there's Naples and Jacksonville have townhomes that have nicer facades than the ones that are proposed for our community. Abismail, can you pull up the one that's in our package?
It should be the Jasmine design on that packet, yeah.
So it's the Jasmine design you see there. It's pretty plain. So I would like to see if Taylor Morrison can commit to a nicer facade, more interest architecturally on the townhomes and the approval that's moving forward.
Which one are you looking at?
I mean, the Vital and the Corsica have more architectural interest than the Jasmine. I mean, to me, that's just stucco with some paint colors on it.
Would you like to speak to that?
Sure. So, and I appreciate that recognition that we're a higher end brand. We are. We like to think of ourselves as that middle to junior luxury move up type of home builder. In home building, as in any business, efficiency and scale is crucial to success. We operate under a regional plan lineup. So same floor plans, essentially same blueprints are executed in multiple different markets, Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, Southwest Florida, Naples, as well as Fort Myers, and I think we're even reaching out like Port Charlotte. Each individual aesthetic or skin is tailored to the community. So the communities that you're referencing are coastal, probably have barrel tile roofs. Several of them are also outside of a huge master plan, highly amenitized, consistent with barrel tile roofs. Jacksonville's built exactly like ours. Portions of Tampa Bay, exactly like ours, Orlando. So we're obviously going to be all along we've said that a 1,300 and a 1,500 single-car garage is essentially addressing the missing middle of housing that's needed throughout every community in Central Florida right now. Barrel tile roofs, 19 to 20,000, increase. So you take a price-conscious product and dress it up. All you're doing is driving out that missing middle. The plans shown are consistent with your code, and we would ask to be able to execute them.
So this,
Orange County has approved them, and we build them off of Weatherby, and they've done very well.
I'm sure they will, I just think they're pretty plain. I don't know how the other council members feel. We always seem to get in St. Cloud like a lower tier of every product that gets built, you know? So like I said, like I was excited Taylor Morrison, and then when I see the product, I'm like, I mean, I'll see what the other council members feel about it. The Corsica doesn't appear to have a barrel tile roof. It looks like
I don't have the
architectural
source
shingles.
document that you're looking at. You pulled several. I could look at them and then retort.
Do you have another copy of Ismail?
You can have this one.
I think the key takeaway, Commissioner, is that it's a different geographic, and those are built in Southwest Florida, higher price points. It's all going to drive up pricing. So what I'm hearing is that you'd rather have a $300,000 or $400,000 townhome there. That's what I'm hearing. I don't know if that's the intent, but that's the messaging, which again is just drives out communities. I mean, this is right next to an elementary school. It's not a $300,000 or $400,000. It should not be a $300,000 or $400,000 single car townhome.
Council?
Councilmember Trace?
Thank you. Well, so it's the difference between renderings and pictures really tell a lot too, because the picture looks good and then the rendering's like, right?
Exactly.
And the same exact elevation that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Was that Jasmine? To me, when we're talking about these elevations, at least have articulation instead of just all the windows on the second story being straight in line. But the big thing too is everyone talks about the garage being dominant, but sometimes there's another community further east in town that it's driveway dominant too. So it's a one-car garage, but then there's two cars in the driveway, and it's just concrete from one end of the building all the way to the other end of the building with maybe a shrub in between. So at least this has the one-car driveway. Not the biggest fan of massive parking lot to counteract and get the four and a half parking spots per house, but kind of is what it is.
Well, I certainly agree with the comments that Councilmember Matheny is making. We'd certainly like to have a nicer looking product from the outside. But I'm struggling with, a price point. Building has just gone up so astronomically, and I think one of the huge needs that we have here in St. Cloud as well as Osceola County is workforce housing, and when we start getting up close to the $400,000 range, it's not workforce housing, but even the outside here I think can be addressed and to look a little more upscale with shutters or whatever, and maybe the change on the windows, but I'd certainly like to see just a little bit nicer product on the outside for sure.
Mr. Mayor, council members. So this product has been approved in Osceola County recently as well, and it does have articulation throughout it. The landscaping is a higher level than what you all have, your code calls for. And I think that, we want to be able to move forward I had already mentioned that I didn't like the gray color, but, you know, we can make it a different color. We can do some things like that. But to redesign it, this same elevation has been in your package since June.
Right.
And this is, you know, so I would ask you all to consider what this applicant has, is willing to contribute above what they even have to in this circumstance. They've lowered the number, they've met your parking, they've met all of your code requirements. So I would ask you to take that into consideration and move forward.
Thank you very much. Good point. Any other discussion?
So I guess I'm asking the question. So you're not willing to make any changes or upgrades to the facade that's in the package?
I don't have the authority to start redesigning product. It's something, as I was trying to allude to earlier, Commissioner, there is a consistency so we have costs for this, we have vendors, to your point, windows, doors, now it's mirrors, now it's resin for pipe that goes into underground utilities. We are a market-driven industry, and I've been trying to get this project that's consistent with your existing code and previous approvals, and is a down zone, essentially, for almost a year. It's just, I don't have the authority to go back to my purchasing team and say, hey, we need to redesign now the skin to provide assurances to Commissioner and Mayor to get this approved from a land planning standpoint. I mean, you have a permitting process, a building code process, you have a land development code. There's other avenues that you can address this if this is the route you want. I just don't feel that this specific project, we're going to have other projects ahead of you. We'll have to deal with that if you change it. But this specific project has been moving through the process for a year now. And I just don't have the authority to make that commitment to you internally.
Anything else?
Nope.
Any other discussion? Could I entertain a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 2021-04.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Deputy Mayor Trace,
Aye.
Councilmember Matheny,
No.
Councilmember Askew.
Aye.
Mayor Blackwell.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-1.